Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone that knows I'm a leaf on the wind. Welcome to the Wednesday Night Jokenet here on our new home, the 146715 repeater. I am Kilo Echo 8, Papa Victor Lima, your net control for the evening. My name is Nemo, November Echo Mike Oscar, and I am located in Denmark Township. Before I go any further, is there anyone that needs this repeater for emergency or priority traffic? Alright, nothing heard. If anyone needs this repeater for emergency or priority traffic, please break in at any time with break and your call sign, and I will gladly concede the repeater for the duration of your emergency. Again, this is the Wednesday Night Jokenet here on 146715 repeater. This is a directed net, and all traffic should go through net control. Everyone with a valid amateur radio license is encouraged to participate. Everyone else that listens to us on scanners, YouTube, or any of our various social media networks, we appreciate you guys listening too. This net meets every Wednesday night on this repeater, and the purpose of this net is to have fun, making each other laugh, coming up with crazy punchlines for this week's joke. This is a 3-round net, so please stick around or you may miss something. Before I go down the list of regular check-ins, let me just say this repeater is owned and operated by the Ashtabula County Amateur Radio Club. It's an open repeater and available for public use. Obviously, you can get to the repeater via RF and Echolink. The repeater has a negative offset, a PL tone of 141.3, and an Echolink node of N8CT-L. Please treat the repeater like it's got a 2-minute timeout and allow for clean breaks between transmissions. Other than that, we are good to go, and I will accept either answer for tonight's mystery show, except for Mel. That's not an acceptable answer to me. All right, let's go down the list of regular check-ins. We'll see who else here this evening. We'll start right at the top of the list with Jeff, KC8 LAR. Maybe it's going to take him a minute to jump in tonight. Hopefully he'll be joining us in just a little bit. We'll try Dan, N8DRL. All right, we're going to reach out to Ken, KE8YBN. Yes, I did. Ken, thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate it, man. You're right at the top of the list this evening. We'll keep on going down the regular check-ins. We'll see if Wayne's around. Alpha Charlie 8, Yankee Juliet.
Good evening. Alpha Charlie 8, Yankee Juliet.
All right, Wayne, good to hear you tonight. Appreciate you being here. We'll reach out to Cleveland Heights and see if he's around. Dave, are you here? K8TIE.
Well, I did announce that I was waiting for the net a few minutes ago. I'm thinking of the Youngbloods, Smile on Your Brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. That has a number of lines of transient existence. So that's my guess on that. This is K8TIE, King 8, Terra Item Easy, and Cleveland Heights, going back to net.
All right, I like that answer. I'll get down to it. I'll put that in the log for an answer for that, and we'll let you know later on. We'll see what happens. How about Vito? Are you with us? Alpha Delta 8 Oscar India.
Alpha Delta 8 Oscar, yes. Here, I think. What the heck? I don't know. Yes, I'm here if you can hear me, but I'm not there. Back to net, I think.
Okay, well, I don't know about your confusion there, but you're coming through 5x5, so we'll mark you down. We've got you in the log for the night. How about Jim, KE8 LFR? All right, nothing heard there. We'll reach out to Hiram, see if he can punch through the trees. W8 KNO Joe.
W8KNO, I can hear you, Nemo.
All right, Joe, you're coming through just fine. So just stand right where you're at and don't move to the left or the right. You'll be okay. Let's hop across the lake here, see if our friend from Canada is joining us. Victor Echo 6, X-Ray Tango Charlie. Bruce, are you around tonight?
How about that? I'm here. Anyway, I would like to know what you were referencing at the beginning because I just tuned in and I nearly forgot about the net, and then all of a sudden I realized it's 2 minutes past the hour. Oh, I better get my act together.
Very good. You know, Bruce, I'll just go down it real quick for you. So, because I know you're new, I know I've said it a couple times, but I change the intro every week during the beginning, and that intro references a TV show, a movie, or a podcast, or something in general media, usually visual. And I reference that in some way, shape, or form. And if you can guess it, then I mark you down as a correct answer if you've got a correct guess for it. And the people who guess the most correctly at the end of the month, whoever has the most little hashtags in my logbook for that, that person wins a cup. I send them out a cup once a month to whoever does that. Some months I don't get any guesses at all, so some months I don't send out any cups. But most, about every other month I get to send one out. So tonight's reference was I'm a leaf on the wind, and that's the first time I've ever repeated it for anybody, so you're in luck there.
You know, it reminds me of that song by the Beach Boys called When I Die, rather, where he talks about being a cork on the ocean or a rock in a landslide or a leaf in a blowing wind. Am I right?
Well, as much as I like that song, I actually haven't added songs to the list of repertoires or, to the list of things I reference. But man, that's a great song, and thank you for putting it in my head. I'll have an earworm for the rest of the night, man. Appreciate that. Let me keep moving on down the list with the check-ins, and we'll get back to that. Alpha 8 Delta Lima Drew, are you around tonight? All right, nothing heard there. And I know this guy's out of town, but I would be remiss if I didn't give him a shout out. So Kilo Echo 8, Queen Whiskey Golf. Tom, are you around tonight? All right, nothing heard there. He hasn't figured out how to use Echolink while he's out on the road, but that's okay. We'll give a call out to Ron, KC8 RJO. All right, nothing heard there. That rounds out the list as I have it of regular check-ins. Is there anybody I missed or anybody who'd like to check in? Please call KE8PVL. All right, nothing heard. Couple regulars must be out to dinner tonight or something. I don't know. That's okay. We'll have a nice comfy group with what we've got here. That's all right. Let me take a quick break for time. We'll get into this week's joke. All right, so this week's joke. Guess what, guys? It's October. That's not quite the joke, but it is October 1st. Welcome to October 1st. Man, where is the time gone? You thought it was summer just a little bit ago. All right, this week's joke. Why does everyone love October? This week's joke. Why does everyone love October? And since our list is the way it is, we're going to put Ken in the hot seat tonight. We'll just go down the list in its normal order here. So, Ken, K8YBN, why does everyone love October?
Yeah, and I'm in the car myself also. I've got the radio on, but I don't get you on the radio, but I got you on the Echolink. I don't know what I did wrong there. But what's your question again, please? Please in the back.
The question is, why does everyone love October? Why does everyone love October?
Well, they could be for the parades and all the candy and stuff, and it's a spooky situation. Back to that K8YBN.
Parades and candy, that can be a spooky situation, that's for sure. All right, we'll go to Wayne, Alpha Charlie 8, Yankee Juliet. Why does everyone love October?
Because everyone falls for it. Falls, get it?
All right, very good. I like that answer too. How about Dave, K8TIE? Dad, how you doing tonight? And why does everyone love October?
Oh, yes. Why does everyone love October? Because it flushes up with lots of booze. K8TA, back to that control.
All right, because there's lots of booze. I like that answer too. That's a good one. How about it, Vito, Alpha, Delta 8, Oscar, India? Why does everyone love October?
88OI here. Sorry about before. My screen wasn't sized right, and I couldn't tell if I was transmitting or not. But wanted to check in with the XYL as well. Her answer is... falls for each year. It's a month. Everybody falls for each year. My answers, I have two. Everybody loves October because it's mine and my XYL's birthday month. And my real answer is because it's beautiful. Back to net.
All right, very good. Libras unite. Mine too, by the way. It's just so you know, maybe we should have a group thing going there. All right, we'll keep on going down the list. W8KNO Joe, thanks for punching through the trees tonight, sir. Why does everyone love October?
The reason everyone loves October is because no matter how bad you look, in October you are not the most ugly.
All right, don't stare in the mirror too long, and you'll keep on believing that one. All right, very good. I like that answer. We'll go across the pond there, or across the lake, as it were. Victor Echo 6, X-Ray, Tango Charlie. Bruce, good to have you with us, sir. And why does everyone love October?
Well, I'll take a guess. It's because people fall for autumn.
All right, I like that answer too. Very good answer. Appreciate that. That rounds out the list as I have it. And before we get into tonight's actual answer, this is K8PVO with the Wednesday Night Jokenet. Is there anybody else that would like to check in while we're still at it? All right, nothing heard. So tonight's joke, why does everyone love October? It's the month everyone falls for. Man, there's a bunch of people that hit it right on the head there. And those other answers were great. Thank you for making me laugh tonight. I really appreciate it. All right. Let me do a couple quick announcements, and then we'll get into why everybody's really here. So, hey, I only have a few announcements this week. Actually, wait, I should have one more announcement. Nope, not yet. Nope, not yet. That's not until next week. All right, so I'll have a couple new announcements, but don't ignore all the activity on this repeater. The Aries District 10 Ashtabula County Emergency Services Net meets every Monday night on this repeater. That's 146.715. I know you guys all know because you're all punched in. It is negative offset 141.3 and an Echolink node of N8CT-L. Also, the Ashtabula County Amateur Radio Club's weekly net is on this repeater every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Check them out. There's some good folks in that group too. All right, that's it. That's the only announcements I've got. So, it's been a beautiful day. We're having a lucky fall as far as weather goes. We're not getting saturated, but we're still kind of close to drought conditions. But let's go down the list. We'll start with Ken, and we'll see what's going on with everybody tonight and how everybody's been doing. KE8YBN, thanks for reaching up here and talking to us this evening. What do you got for the group, sir? KE8YBN, are you still with us?
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, like I said, I'm driving and then multitask. I shouldn't be doing that stuff anyway, but now it's just getting ready for the old colder weather. Last few warm days here to try to get things straightened up, cleaned up, taken care of. Yep, back to that KE8YBN.
Yeah, absolutely. The leaves are coming down a little faster than one might think around here, so I think it's partly to do with the drought, but normally we've got them hanging on for just a little longer. Anybody who's sightseeing Ashtabula County, man, if they want to see the colors on the trees, they probably better hit it before this next week is out, that's for sure. All right, we'll keep on going down the list. Wayne, Alpha, Charlie 8, Yankee Juliet, thank you for joining us tonight, sir, and what do you got for everybody?
They're a little bit early, about almost a week early. But we have had that drought, and if you look at the cornfields and stuff, they're looking. Most people are out there harvesting right now, but it's looking a little dry. It's been, we haven't had much rain since beginning of August. But it's what it is. You got to deal with it. But I just have a feeling it's going to be a January and February are going to be brutal. Just have that feeling. Farmers, Almanac, or Northeast Ohio basically predicted our weather to a T so far this year. And it's saying it's going to be very cold January and February. So it's what it is. Everybody have a great evening. Thanks for getting on the net tonight. Alpha Charlie 8, Yankee Juliet, back to net control.
Yeah, absolutely. I live right by a bunch of huge cornfields, and those guys are not going to have to pay for drying this year. Most people who don't farm probably don't know that if a farmer harvests his corn too soon, or if we get too much rain, they actually have to pay to have it dried when it gets to the place to processing. But if it's like this, when they hack it down, it's already dry, so they don't have to pay that extra. Same thing with the soybean too. Those bean fields are in the same boat, so those guys are going to save a little bit of cash this year, and hopefully that'll put some green in their pocket. All right, we'll head out to KATIE. Dad, good to have you with us tonight. What do you got for the group?
Actually, KCLV decided to play the Pierre Boulez 1981 recording of The Rite of Spring. I remember when he was the first conductor to actually be able to perform that piece, especially the last dance at tempo. There is a long history of bad performances, even when the Philadelphia Orchestra recorded a Rite of Spring segment for Fantasia. They didn't have to keep up with that last dance because their characters were dinosaurs. But Peter Shickley did a program on it, and I got the luck of the draw to be able to hear that at Severance Hall performed at tempo. And that one had everybody about 6 inches above their seats. And even though I was way up in the peanut gallery, it was still great. And the word is that they left the concert hall and went straight down to, I forget which auditorium it is, down at about 30th Masonic Temple, I think, where they recorded it right then with the sound of the concert still ringing in their ears. And that was a fantastic performance. So it was really nice to hear it today at noon, or actually the follow-up on it, because that man knew how to actually get all those strange rhythms and stuff like that sunk together to really sound fabulous. So that's my kind of joy for today. And I may mention something else later when you get into discussion rounds. This is K8TIE, back to KE8 PVL, net control.
Yeah, roger that. I've attended a couple events, and I videotaped an event at that hall down there for the Mason Hall down there, and that's a good place to do it. That's for sure. There's you don't think about it from the outside, but that complex is pretty big actually. There's a lot going on in there. All right, we'll keep on going, though. We'll go down to Alpha Delta 8 Oscar India Vito +1. Thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. What do you got for the group, sir?
Alpha Delta 8 Oscar India here. Just got done watching the new Naked Gun movie with starring Liam Neeson. And if you're a fan of the Naked Gun series, it is a good watch. It brought me a lot of joy tonight. I love stupid comedy. Other than that, not much going on. Playing on the computer. Back to that.
All right, very good. I'm gonna have to check that out since it's a new movie and I haven't seen it yet. I've watched most of them. I think I've seen all of the Naked Gun movies, but obviously with the new one coming out, I haven't checked that one out yet. So it'll be a minute before I get around to it. I still got a couple other shows I'm working my way through. All right, and stick around for the discussion round. I got some good news for everybody, so to speak. All right, W8KNO, Joe, good to have you with us tonight, sir. What do you got for everybody?
Good evening, Nemo. The only thing I need to say is the longer everyone talks, the weaker the signals get here. I don't know what it is, so I'll just say 73. Everyone have a good week, and I'll try to check in again next week. W8KNO.
All right, very good, Joe. Thank you for being here tonight. Appreciate it. Stick around and listen anyway. Get some entertainment. I got something that'll be a pretty good thing for you to chat with on the next night you check into tonight. All right. How about Bruce, Victor Echo 6, X-Ray Tango Charlie? Thank you for joining us tonight, sir. What do you got for the group?
lower mainland of Vancouver and British Columbia, there was a conversation about concept albums, like Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, or some of the stuff that Emerson, Lake and Palmer did, and it was really interesting. And of course, I like Kraftwerk, that group from Germany, and their Radioactivity album, and their Computer World album, and the Robots and all that stuff, that the concept albums that they released. So that was an interesting discussion today, and it just developed out of just someone's offhand comment. And I'm hoping that someday they'll have that as a topic of the day on that net.
Very good. Yeah, absolutely. As far as concept albums go, one of the things I think it was Led Zeppelin was right up there in some of the creative stuff there, and one of their concept albums was they rented this mansion, and they put all the band equipment in the middle of this stairwell that went up into a mezzanine, and they hung all the microphones from the top of the mezzanine, and so all the sound would go straight up the stairwell and get recorded by the microphones, and that's how they recorded it, and it came out great. I don't remember what song that was, but a cool documentary that you might like that has to do with concept albums and really great musicians is a documentary called It Might Get Loud. It Might Get Loud. Check that out. It's definitely a well worth watching.
I'll have to search for that on YouTube. Thanks for the tip.
Absolutely. It's really a good documentary, and it features Led Zeppelin. All right, so that's where we're at. That brings me to the bottom of the list. Before we get into the discussion round, is there anybody else who'd like to check into the net? Please call KE8PVL. KE8GJL, thank you for checking in with us tonight. Tonight's joke is, why does everyone love October? And we've already run through the comment round, so go ahead with your comments, sir.
I'm not sure on the joke, and as far as comments go, I don't have much to report over here at my location, and just getting things ready for the early fall we seem to have, and just preparing for the upcoming weekend. Next weekend, actually, we've got the Bridge Festival. So that's where I'm sitting at. I got nothing in that. So it's KEGGL. Thank you. Be logging off the frequency too. I got another thing going on my channel.
All right, well, stick around. I got some good news for you there too. And the Covered Bridge Festival's coming up. I think there's a couple biker groups that are gonna do the bridge ride, and I think the Ashtabula County Amateur Radio Club's going to be setting up out there somewhere, so keep an eye out. There's going to be ham radio guys all over the place. In the meantime, is there anybody else that would like to check in? Please call. Okay, nothing heard, so let's go ahead. I'll get right into the discussion round here. As many of you guys may recall, a few nuts back, there was I did a call to action and asked some people to throw some stuff out there towards the FCC, and there's been some positive response. I've got mixed feelings about it, but I think we did some good out there, so let me bring you guys up to speed. And it wasn't just us. It was quite a few folks. By the time the word got out that they were looking for an open comment period at the FCC, it had already only been a couple days. So they really only gave us a couple days for the comment period. But in those couple days, they got quite a few. So I'm just going to go ahead, and maybe you guys will remember we talked on this net about AST Space Mobile picking up 20 satellites and launching them into space to use on the 70 centimeter band between 430 and 440. And well, the FCC made a decision on that after the open comment period. So let me just go right down that. The FCC Space Command Bureau made a comment that at this time, to address the concerns raised by amateur radio operators and the petitioner, we are issuing a grant to AST to conduct emergency operations in the 430 to 440 bandwidth. No other bands are available for the 20 additional satellites that have been authorized for the period and not to exceed 24 hours. So they've been given an operating license to go up there, an operating grant to go up there and operate in those frequencies, but only during emergencies. And that is that's really good, because that decision is the direct result of the over 2,500 comments that were submitted to the FCC through the ARRL, through the IARU, which is the International Radio Union, International Amateur Radio Union. They were also submitted through AMSTAT, through the ITU also. So man, I think we made a difference there, and basically they were told that they didn't need that particular part of the spectrum for and that there was existing UHF spectrum for the telemetry, tracking, and command and control operations that they were testing. And so there was no real need for them to do it. So they're only being granted temporary use. So they and also the ITU got involved also because 440 is and 430 is amateur radio bands, both in Region 1 and in Region 2. So pat yourself on the back, amateur radio guys, that took the time to send in a comment for that. I know we all kind of did it last minute, but it looks like we did some good there. So that's where we're at with that. I just wanted to put that out there as an update, and good for you guys who did it, and thank you much for doing it, because our efforts are saving our bandwidth. All right, let's go to Ken, K8YBN. Good to have you with us tonight, sir. Hopefully you sent that in a month or so ago. What are your thoughts?
Station ID's been cleared. Yes, that's a great thing. All possible avenues for emergencies to reach out to everybody to get help where necessary to be applied to, and to pass on the encouragement words to those that need to be helped out, of course. Yeah, I'm sure it's a great thing. Back to them. KK5BM.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think we all need to take a more active role in paying attention to what's going on with our bandwidth and all that. But I think, for considering the limited scope of time that we were told that this was going on and that it was being brought out there, the response was great and it was listened to. So I'm right there with you on that. Alpha Charlie 8 Yankee Juliet Wayne, thanks for joining us again tonight. And what are your thoughts?
Giving them anything. Usually give them an inch, they'll take a mile. But reality, it's about the best you can hope for. That's how I view it. And just, we got to keep active to make sure we keep what we have. That's about it for right now. Back to net control. Thank you, Nemo, for having me that. Alpha Charlie 8, Yankee Juliet. Everybody have a great evening in 73.
All right. Well, I'm like I said, I think of it as a win. To be honest with you, I won't call it a Pyrrhic victory. They did launch 20 satellites up there in those frequency ranges, but they are only authorized to use them for a maximum of a 24-hour period in an emergency. So I think, but generally speaking, we came out on top with that one. KATIE, Dave, good to have you with us tonight. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to take and as soon as you upload this podcast, this is a podcast, I'm going to get the details on it because I wasn't able to write it down fast enough, and I will take and relay the information through to the trivia net that I go on every morning, so that they too know the good news and the details. How does that sound? KATIE, back to net control.
All right, very good. I'll do you one better than that. If you got a pen ready, I'll give you the website. If you go to amsat, amsat.se, amsat.se, and they have an article there, AST Space Mobile 70 centimeter allocation update. That's the article that they have there. If you search for that article, that'll give you all the information right there. And like I said, there's not very many people out there reporting on this kind of stuff. So, but to me, this is a win. So there you go. All right, we'll keep on going down the list. I'll repeat that again later if need be. Alpha Delta 8 Oscar India. Vito, good to have you with us tonight, sir. What are your thoughts?
Well, there's limitations on it, so it's a good thing we still have the band, and just keep moving forward and keep trying to get our as much as we can, protecting our airwaves. Back to that.
All right, and I know Joe was stepping aside there, so we'll go down to Bruce. Victor Echo 6, X-Ray Tango Charlie. Bruce, you weren't around when we were talking about this before, I don't believe, but this was something that we covered, talked about on this net maybe about 2 months ago, and the end result is I think amateur radio operators around the world did a job there. So what are your thoughts?
Well, it's good that we got listened to. I'm just not quite clear on what this thing about using the satellite frequencies, or the satellites using the frequencies 430 to 440 in emergencies. If you could explain that, I'd sure be grateful.
All right, so some time ago, a company called AST, operating under AST Space Mobile / Science LLC, launched about 20 satellites up into space for use for cell phone communications and the like across the 430 to 440 bands. And they didn't really clear it with anybody. I mean, I guess they did. They had to clear it because, you know, you got to pay stuff to launch stuff up in the air and get all those permits together. But they never talked to anybody outside of, I guess, themselves to see. And then when a few people found out and complained to the FCC, then the FCC put out well, the satellites had been up there for about, I don't remember. I want to say off the top of my head, they had been already up there for about 6 months, but they hadn't been doing anything, with the exception of a few reports from ham radio operators about malicious interference. Nobody really knew what was going on. So then the FCC, at least here, opened up a comment period. But the comment period was only like, by the time they told everybody that there was a comment period about what was going on up there, it was only like 3 days, 4 days, maybe. It might have been a week. It could have been that long. But by the time the information got out and people in the ham radio community started finding out about it, you know, the FCC said on a Monday, we're opening up a comment period till the end of the week. Well, by Friday, you know, by Wednesday, that's when people started hearing about it. So it really wasn't a whole lot of time for people to respond.
Interesting. Yeah, well, I did hear something about it. So thanks for explaining what the whole deal was about. So are they allowed to operate only during emergencies?
Yeah, so now they're allowed to operate to conduct emergency operations specifically regarding telemetry tracking and command and control operations, and or communications during an emergency over a certain area, but they're only allowed to do that for the first 24 hours. And then after that, they've got to clear the bands because ham radio operators have to be able to respond to emergency situations, you know, for areas, gears, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I sure hope that this gets I sure hope that this gets amateurs using more of that section of the band, because people tend to congregate just on the FM repeaters, and it doesn't seem like there's much happening below 440 megahertz.
Well, I know there's some digital stuff that goes on down there, and I know I don't know what else goes on down there because I honestly don't use 70 centimeter a whole lot. A lot of people. It depends on what you're trying to do. You know, 70 centimeters good for cutting through a storm, but it doesn't go as far as 2. So, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, I'm of the opinion that if the bandwidth isn't being used and isn't allocated by anybody, it should automatically be returned back to public use in the amateur radio bands. But that's just my opinion, and hopefully there'll be some folks up there in the ARRL that agree with that. Maybe they'll get some more members then. That's a whole other subject. All right, thanks to that, Bruce. We'll go down to Joe, KEGJL. Hopefully you heard what's been going on tonight. What are your thoughts? Oh, maybe he secured his station. That's all right. KEGJL, are you still with us? All right, nothing heard. Okay, so this is KAPVL with the Wednesday Night Jokenet. Is there anybody else that would like to check in, or anybody who'd like to recheck? Please call.
Victor Echo 6, X-Ray Tango Charlie for a recheck.
Bruce, I got you in the log. Anybody else? All right, Victor Echo 6, X-Ray Tango Charlie, go ahead with your recheck.
Yeah, has anything been said about the 30 to 50 megahertz band? I remember we were discussing that a while back about if, you know, what we should do or give it to the amateurs. I'm in favor of giving it to us amateurs, especially since, like during the high sunspot cycles, it does come alive and we do get a lot of DX, even as high as maybe 45, 46 megahertz. Sometimes it even goes higher if it's a really good F2 propagation hop. I've heard of people even hearing the sound of a station in Trinidad, TV station channel 2, when it was back on the analog system, and they got it on F2 hop instead of just sporadic E. So that's kind of interesting. I hope we get that banned. I hope they just let us have that whole stretch to play around in.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have any updates on that yet. You know how things go. They like to kick things down the road a little ways and see how it rolls. Usually downhill. But no updates on that have come across my desk. And as I'm sure you might know, all our FCC associates are now on a forced vacation, so to speak. So they're going to be kicking that can down the road pretty far, at least until probably, I would say at least until, turn of the year, their New Year's or so. So I wouldn't expect to hear anything new on that for a little while.
Yeah, that's too bad because all that spectrum's going to waste. And I remember in the old days, that was quite an active place, 30 to 50 megahertz with FM transmissions from various utility companies and police and stuff like that. It was really a load of fun to listen to, but of course they've all moved on to other frequencies, and I remember picking up stuff from the southern states way up here in Canada. It was interesting listening to reports. Like one time I heard that some poor guy got stuck on a roof and someone took the ladder away. So you had to get the police to come, or a fire department, and get him a ladder and rescue him from there. So it was pretty funny sometimes.
I think you'd probably be surprised just how often that scenario happens. I can think of a few times, more than once, but fortunately there was somebody with a ladder close by. All right, very good. As soon as I get an update on the 30 to 50 megahertz situation, I know we talked about it a couple weeks back. I'll try and keep an update on that too. I have several amateur radio news feeds that come through to me on a regular basis, and I have to admit I don't check them all as much as I'd like to, but I do so much other stuff aside from just this net that it would be very difficult for me to keep up on everything. I know tomorrow night on my other YouTube channel I'll be talking quite a bit about some amateur radio stuff that's going on out in the world right now. So stuff that I wouldn't talk about here just because of time constraints. So maybe tune over there. It's called Ashtabula Hobby Talk. I don't promote it here usually, but if you're interested, check it out.
Yeah, if you could email me at ve6xtc@gmail.com, we could discuss further about the spectrum space.
All right, I'll have to be honest with you. I don't check my email that much. I do a lot more through the social media networks anymore. But that's I'll see what I can do. Maybe I can sit down and do email. I really only ever do emails now for like password verification and resetting my passwords. That's about all I ever use it for anymore. All right, let me move on though, just to be on the safe side here. Is there anybody else that would like to check in, or anybody that would like to recheck? All right, nothing heard. Let me go ahead and bring the net to a close, and we'll turn the repeater back over to normal amateur radio use, whatever that might be. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. I appreciate you all being here. This net couldn't happen without you. We have a small group tonight, but a good discussion and a good close group. Missed a few folks. Hopefully, they're all doing okay. Also want to thank everybody else that listens to us on Scanners, follows us on our various social media platforms, all that stuff too. All the people currently serving and retired from service to our country, appreciate your sacrifices. You will not be forgotten. The Ashtabula County Amateur Radio Club, thank you guys for the use of this repeater. This is KE8PVL, returning the repeater back over to normal amateur radio use, whatever that might be. Be good to each other, everybody. K8PVL is clear.